Alright guys, this is a hill I am absolutely prepared to die on. I think I've lost, 100 subscribers yesterday from my video about this Tourette's syndrome situation at the BAFTAs. Fully prepared to die on this hill. Everyone is still out for blood. And I want to make this crystal clear. John Davidson does not need to apologise for what happened at the BAFTAs. The same way you do not demand an apology from a deaf person for ignoring you. You don't demand an apology from John Davidson for his disability. You don't demand an apology from a blind man who accidentally hits you with his stick as he's walking down the road. You just don't do it. 9 times out of 10, if you're an honourable and decent human being, if a blind person had hit you with his stick and you turned around and realised he was blind, if you're a decent human being, it's actually on you at that point to apologise. Normally, that's what tends to happen. I get the instant gut reaction to go, oh, I'm a bit angry, someone's just hit me. But the moment you turn around and you see he's got, some kind of sunglasses on, he's got the stick, you go, oh, shit, sorry. Do you need a hand? That's what decent human beings do. Loads of people are arguing, why was John Davidson even there? Sorry, he was there because the film about his life had been nominated and indeed won awards. He deserves to be there. The film about him to raise awareness for Tourette's. Yeah, no, he definitely deserves to be there. Isn't it? There's this sort of bitter irony about the fact that he's a well-known activist that has suffered incredible abuse for his disability across his lifetime. Like awful abuse, genuinely, absolutely awful abuse. So he gets a film made about his life to raise awareness for Tourette's and acceptance and understanding and the display of his disability at the award show where his film is nominated and wins causes a complete lack of understanding from everyone. Now, I've argued with a lot of people on my... Well, I say argued. There's been a lot of comments coming through on my last video about this where people are like, there needs to be understanding and, black people are hurt by this. I'm not going to show any understanding for people that are not showing compassion for a disabled man. What do you take me for? Sorry, he's a disabled man, and there's literally, online discourse for this is genuinely abhorrent. It is actually disgusting. People are baying for his blood. People are calling him everything under the sun. Yeah, no, I'm going to die on the hill for showing compassion to him over people being hurt about a word that he didn't even want to say. And that's the thing. Lots of people seem to be very, very confused by Tourette's. They seem to say they understand whilst displaying rampant ignorance and room temperature IQ about Tourette's. So what kind of Tourette's does he have? Coprolalia. It is the involuntary, uncontrollable outburst of obscene, taboo, or socially inappropriate words or phrases. It is literally... Because lots of people are like, well, that didn't make him... Tourette's doesn't make him say racist things when black people are there. Yes, it literally does. 2 black people are on stage. What is the most socially inappropriate thing to say? The most socially inappropriate thing to say. Yeah, it's going to be the N-word, isn't it? Yeah, it's literally going to be the N-word. And you're not sure... Like, the fact that he said it is indicative of the fact he didn't want to say it and he understands it is the most socially inappropriate thing to say. Yeah, I'm going to die on this hill for people baying for the blood of a disabled man that has awful opportunities in this world, has suffered awful abuse, beatings, bullying, harassment. Yeah, I'm going to die on that hill. You die on whatever hill you want. I know where my priorities lie. I know where my honour is. I know where my compassion is. You do whatever the fuck you want. I'm more than happy to die on this hill. I'm more than happy to lose some subscribers that don't want to show compassion for a disabled man. More than happy to. 100% more than happy to. So John Davidson issued a statement which is causing a meltdown. People are like, well, why hasn't he apologised? This is not an apology. He doesn't need to apologise for being disabled. What don't you get? So he said, also, side note, that there's an argument to be had for why wasn't it cut in the edit bay, right? Because there was a 2-hour gap between the BAFTAs airing and the BBC, right? There was a gap there. Now, part of Tourette syndrome is understanding that it exists and raising awareness. That's the whole point of the movie, is to raise awareness. And it would be like editing out a blind person coming up on stage. It's a very, very similar argument. Yes, it might cause harm, but he has to live with this every single day of his life when he leaves his house. You can't edit real life. You can't edit it. And take this as a learning experience. If you're offended by what he said, look introspectively. Look be a bit more introspective and go, well, this man has to live with this every single day of his life. If he says that to someone in person, which he has done. I mean, this is the guy who said, fuck the Queen to the Queen's face. Right? The most socially inappropriate thing to say possible. That's what Coprolalia does. But you can't edit real life. So there's an argument to be had. I understand the argument people are making that the BBC should have edited it. I understand that argument. But I also see it from a disabled person's perspective. Right? Is that should you edit out disabilities just because it could be deemed offensive by people that are ignorant about it? I don't know. I take it as a learning moment, I guess. I don't know. I don't know quite where I sit on that. But anyway, so he did the statement. Says, I was in attendance to celebrate the film of my life. Literally his life, I swear. Which more than any film or TV documentary explains the origins, conditions, traits and manifestations of Tourette syndrome. I spent my life trying to support and empower the Tourette's community, which he has. He's very well known in the UK. And to teach empathy, kindness and understanding from others, which he's not getting right now. And I think that's gross. Again, I'm happy to die on this hill. I'm happy to die on the hill. And I will continue to do so. I chose to leave the auditorium early in the ceremony as I was aware of the distress my tics were causing. He took ownership of that. He doesn't need to apologise. He left. Again, it would be like someone up on stage getting angry with a deaf person for ignoring them, but that deaf person realising that people are offended by the fact that he can't hear, so he leaves. Most people would go, you don't need to leave, don't worry about it. But on this occasion, people go, yeah, get out, go, get the pitchforks, get the fires burning. What's wrong with you? What is actually wrong with you? And again, people from the BAFTAs. People are leaving the BAFTAs. I don't know. I think it's gross. I think it's absolutely gross. And then people are like, yeah, but what about Delroy Lindo? What about Michael B. Jordan? Yeah, what about them? What about them? The moment they know that he's got Tourette's, they should just go, oh, yeah, literally no harm. What's wrong with you all? Calm down. Jamie Foxx being an absolute prick online, saying he meant it and he's a racist. Would you have a crystal ball, Jamie? Oh, my heart bleeds for you, multi-millionaire. No, I'm going to side with the disabled person. I'm going to side with the disabled person. Don't care. Not happy. I'm don't care. I'm happy. Don't care if you're not happy. So there was another statement here from Emma McNally, the CEO of Tourette's Action. And she said, people with Tourette's can say words or phrases they do not mean, do not endorse, and feel great distress about afterwards. These symptoms are neurological, not intentional, and there's something John, like many others with the Tourette's, live with every single day. And, yeah, definitely criticise the media's response. So she said, we're incredibly proud of John and everyone involved in I Swear following last night's BAFTA Awards. The film has already raised so much awareness about Tourette syndrome and the daily reality faced by those living with the condition. The impact it has had on audiences, families and those with Tourette's within the community is huge, and we could not be more grateful for the support the film continues to receive. However, we also want to address the negative comments that have surfaced following John's involuntary vocal tics during the ceremony. We deeply understand that these words can cause hurt, but at the same time, this is the case, right? Sure, understand it. It can be, people can perceive it to be hurtful, right? Can choose to take offence for these things. I understand that. But as she says, at the same time, it's vital that the public understands a fundamental truth about Tourette syndrome. Tics are involuntary. They're not a reflection of a person's beliefs, intentions, or characters. People with Tourette's can say words or phrases they don't mean. It's not intentional. There's something John, like many others, live with. The backlash from certain parts of the media has been extremely saddening, particularly given how hard John works to raise awareness and understanding. What should have been a night of celebration for him became overwhelming, and he made the difficult decision to leave the ceremony. Like, you're baying for blood from a disabled man who literally made the choice to leave for the film that is about his life. Man, you're disgusting. Like, you're all actually disgusting. What's wrong with you? This moment reflects exactly what I Swear shows so openly. The isolation, the misunderstanding, emotional weight that so often accompany this condition. People with Tourette's manage their physical and social environments and symptoms on a constant basis. The price of being misunderstood is increased isolation, risk of anxiety and depression, and death by suicide. Most people with Tourette's kill themselves. We hope that those commenting will take the time to watch the film, learn about Tourette's, and understand the experiences behind moments like these. Education is key. Compassion makes a world of difference. So look, I'm happy to die on this hill. Don't care if you unsubscribe because you're offended. I will absolutely take the side of the disabled man that did not mean to say it. Context is everything. It is everything.